Discover the shocking struggles Warren Buffett faced to build his fortune. You won't believe this. In the heart of Omaha, Nebraska, whispers of Warren Buffett's rise from a boy selling gum and soda to the world's most successful investor send chills down spines. Each story carries an aura of disbelief, like a ghost tale in the dead of night. You can almost hear the echoes of skeptics. No way he made all that money just by being smart. But if you dive into the shadows of his life, you'll find strange secrets veiled beneath layers of success. As a kid, Warren was not just sharp. He was obsessed. Hours spent scanning the stock market were marred by the relentless tick of a clock, driving him, pushing him beyond the limits of ordinary. His early ventures were drenched in nail-biting suspense. The moment he bought his first stock at age 11 was not a joyous celebration. It was charged with silent dread. The stock plummeted, leaving him with a tightening chest, the lump of embarrassment heavy in his throat. Yet every failure was a lesson that carved his path, like a sculptor chiseling away at rock to find a masterpiece. It's unnerving to ponder what pushed him through the toughest challenges, a childhood marred by hardship and the kind of isolation that made every victory feel like a distant mirage. But more than just financial missteps, there are strange coincidences tying him to rival investors, almost supernatural moments like how a seemingly innocuous tip from an old family friend led to his first million. Why would an old man suddenly share such knowledge? What deeper connection lay between them that weaves through the fabric of Buffett's storied life? It leaves you breathless, doesn't it? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. And then came the moment that could have shattered every dream. A deal gone wrong. A bond broken suddenly. The stakes were higher than ever. Buffett found himself at the crossroads, the weight of the world on his shoulders, every eye scrutinizing his next move. The tension filled the air so thick it was palpable. Every whisper around him mixed despair with awe, as onlookers held their breath. How would he turn this around? It was a mystery yet to be unveiled, one that could define or destroy him. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, leaving an unsettling twilight, strangers gathered outside his office, faces twisted with uncertainty. What happened next in that dimly lit room could change everything. Did he have a secret plan? Would he face this battle head-on, or retreat into the shadows of failure forever? You have to wonder, what lies ahead for a man whose very name is synonymous with resilience? Inside that dimly lit office, the air was thick with doubts and fears. As the shadows stretched against the walls, Warren sat at his desk, fingers trembling above the keyboard. The blinking cursor seemed to mock him, reminiscent of the ticking clock from his childhood. Time was running out. Outside, the murmurs grew louder. Had he lost it all? Each whisper was a dagger, piercing through the fragile hope he clung to. He couldn't shake the feeling that today was different. This was not just another deal gone sour. It felt like the universe was challenging him. The fear of failure gripped him like a vice, squeezing tighter with every passing moment. He glanced at the photographs on his desk, pictures of his family, moments frozen in time where joy overshadowed the shadows. Those faces were his motivation, the lifeline he needed to dig deep and rise above his circumstances. Suddenly, a knock echoed against the wooden door, jolting Warren from his thoughts. It was Charlie, his trusted partner. He entered with an air of urgency, his brow furrowed and eyes wide. Warren, the news isn't good. The analysts are saying that the market might collapse further. They're calling for an impending doom. His voice trembled, thick with anxiety. Warren felt the room spin. Those words hung heavy, a cloud of despair that threatened to swallow him whole. But he quickly shook it off. Charlie, we need a plan, a bold one. This is the moment to act. Fear has never been my guide. Remember? Charlie's eyes darted, Uncertainty etched across his face. But if we gamble now, we could end up losing everything we've worked for. The air crackled with tension. A standoff of motives, the safe approach versus the radical leap. Both men fell silent. Outside, the crowd surged, their hope and despair intermingling. They were waiting. They were watching. The pressure was palpable. Warren could feel their eyes boring into him, demanding a decision that could ripple through not only their lives but the lives of countless others, fueled by a strange mixture of fear and determination. Warren pressed his palms flat on the desk, leaning forward. "We must play to win, Charlie. History shows us that in times of crisis, those who dare succeed. It's not just about making money, it's about creating a legacy." His voice rose, drawing silence from Charlie. Would they falter together or rise like a phoenix from the ashes? The room felt electric, charged with unknown possibilities. Just then, Warren's phone buzzed, breaking the tension. He hesitated, glancing at the screen. A number he didn't recognize flashed, but something in his gut told him to answer. The voices outside hushed, a collective breath held in anticipation. "Warren, you need to heed this warning." A gravelly voice crackled on the other end. "Do not trust everyone around you. There's more to this than you think." Mysterious, ominous words that sent a shiver down his spine. "What do you mean?" He managed to stutter. "Time is running out and someone close to you might not be who they say they are." The line went dead, leaving an unsettling stillness enveloping the room. Warren exchanged a glance with Charlie, both wondering who or what was lurking beneath the surface of their lives. The shadows in the room shifted, full of secrets yet to be discovered. What had the caller hinted at? Who was the possible traitor in their midst? As unease gripped Warren's heart, a chilling thought washed over him. Could unveiling the truth lead him to unimaginable success? Or would it bury him under the weight of his own ambition? The stakes had never been higher, the game never so dangerous. The next move could redefine everything. Fortune or destruction awaited. Would Warren unveil the shadows looming over him? Warren's mind raced as he regarded Charlie, whose worried expression mirrored his own inner turmoil. The gravity of the caller's words hung in the air like an uninvited specter. Who could he not trust? The partners they had brought on board, the employees they shared long hours with. Seeds of doubt sprouted quickly. "Charlie," Warren said, voice low, "who do you think it could be?" I don't know," Charlie responded, eyes darting around the office as if the shadows might swallow him whole. "But we need to be careful. If there's someone plotting against us in an instant." The room felt claustrophobic. Warren stood up abruptly, pacing the room as his thoughts spiraled. The weight of his ambition now felt like a shackle. Could treachery hide in plain sight while he chased success? Flickers of previous conversations and interactions played in his mind, each one dripping with skepticism he hadn't paid attention to before. "Let us bring everyone in," Warren finally decided, determination cutting through his fear like a hot knife through butter. "We need to establish trust, lay our cards on the table. If there's a mole among us, the truth will come out. Are you sure that's wise? What if the person knows that you're onto them?" Charlie warned, swallowing hard. Warren stopped and turned to him, fists clenching. "I don't really have a choice, do I? I'm not about to cower in my office while someone potentially undermines everything I've built." The door to the office creaked open, halting their conversation. Tara, their marketing director, stepped in cautiously. Her eyes were wide, a well of concern pooling there. "What's going on?" "There's a strange vibe in the air, just a hiccup in the plans," Warren replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "We need to gather everyone for an urgent meeting. Can you handle that?" As she nodded hesitantly, Warren felt an unexpected pang of guilt. Was he dragging her into a storm that could turn violent? But he pushed that thought aside. There was no room for hesitation now. His legacy was at stake, and if this was a trial by fire, he wouldn't back down. Minutes later, the conference room buzzed with chatter. Employees gathered around the polished table, their faces a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Warren positioned himself at the head, feeling the weight of their attention on him. "Everyone, thank you for coming," he began, inhaling deeply. We're in the midst of some challenges. I've received alarming information about potential threats to our business, and I need your full transparency and cooperation to address it." A ripple of anxious murmurs passed across the room. Tara's expression shifted from confusion to worry. Charlie stood by his side, arms crossed, his face drawn tight. "What kind of threats?" one of the salespeople interjected, his voice shaky. Warren pressed on, his voice steady. "There's a question of trust. I need each of you to be honest. Any doubts, any secrets, they need to come to light now. This is about more than numbers. It's about our lives." The room fell into an uneasy silence, the air thickening with tension. As he scanned their faces, a sinking feeling settled in his stomach. Something felt off. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the hallway, startling everyone. The door burst open, revealing a frazzled intern, streaks of panic across her face. "Mr. Warren, you need to see this," pushing past the stunned crowd. Warren felt his heart race as the intern guided him down the hall. His mind raced. What now? As he reached the scene, an icy chill enveloped him. A whiteboard covered in cryptic messages loomed over a group gathered in shock. Words like betrayal, collapse, and money jumped out at him, scrawled in frantic handwriting. As the realization sank in, Warren felt a pit form in his stomach. Who had done this? Who was trying to unravel everything he had fought for? He turned to the intern, breathless. Who found this? But all he heard was silence, and in that moment he understood. The shadows had deeper roots than he could have anticipated. Was he truly ready to face the truth? No. Matter how dark it may be, the hunt for the traitor had begun, and with it, a dangerous game had been set in motion. The next revelation could come at any moment, and with it, the potential to unravel his entire life's work. The chaos of the office shifted into a hush, as every person stood rigid, eyes darting toward the whiteboard like it was a live bomb ready to explode. Warren's heart raced, thudding against his ribcage, drowning out the muffled whispers of concern and confusion. He could almost feel the fear hanging thick in the air. It was tangible, pulsing like an electric current. "What is this?" Charlie's voice sliced through the tension, sharp as glass. "Who would do this?" "That's what I intend to find out," Warren stated, forcing authority into his trembling hands. He stepped closer to the whiteboard, the marker's lingering scent filling his lungs. Each word seemed to taunt him, casting shadows over the painstaking foundation he had built. "Okay, everyone," he called out, trying to maintain control. "Gather in. We need to figure this out together." His voice, steady but laced with urgency, drew them closer. Faces, once curious, were now etched with fear. There was clarity in their eyes as they stared at the chaotic writing, a reflection of their growing sense of dread. They stood clustered around him, unsure whether they were victims or accomplices in this emerging nightmare. Tara clutched her notepad tightly, wisps of hair falling across her forehead. And in that moment, Warren felt a pang of protectiveness toward her. She was working at the intersection of ambition and innocence, and now the storm was closing in. "Whoever did this knows our weaknesses," he continued, irritation bubbling beneath the surface. "It's clear they want to dismantle us from within. We can't let that happen." "What do you mean, dismantle us? This could ruin everything," one of the developers gasped, running a trembling hand through his tousled hair. Warren's skin prickled with the reality of those words. The stakes had shifted from profit margins and quarterly projections to survival. "We have to be transparent. Share anything, any gripes, secret talks, anything suspicious." The words felt heavy, like a weight pressing down on him as the meeting droned on. Each member shared fragments of information and eavesdropped conversation. A strange message, an odd interaction. Yet, hidden beneath layers of anxiety, Warren sensed unease spreading through the group. Fingers pointed subtly, glances exchanged. Distrust was creeping into the cracks of their camaraderie like a creeping vine, choking their unity. Midway through, another loud noise erupted from the hallway, drawing everyone's attention. This time, it was a commotion, sounds of shouts and rapid footsteps. Warren's instincts kicked in. He pivoted on his heel, shaking off the dread that settled like a fog. "Stay here," he barked as he sprinted toward the disturbance. His heart hammered in his ears as he burst into the corridor. Charlie raced after him, his breath rattling, keeping pace as Warren rounded the corner. He skidded to a stop, eyes wide. A group of employees crowded a desk, gasping at the scene before them. His pulse quickened further as he pushed through the crowd, fear gripping him tightly. His gaze fell upon the scene: an overturned trash can, papers scattered across the floor like the remnants of a long-forgotten battle. A crumpled note lay on the ground, stark against the chaos. Instinctively, he bent down to snatch it up. The paper was barely legible, smeared with fresh ink, but one phrase stood out: "You'll regret this." A chill snaked down his spine. "Who did this?" Warren demanded, his voice rising with urgency. Silence swallowed the room as each employee exchanged nervous looks, but no one spoke. A flat, heavy dread settled over him like fog in the early morning. Warren's mind raced, the pieces of the puzzle twisting and turning like a roller coaster in his head. Was someone willing to go this far? What was the intent? Before he could voice another word, Tara stepped forward, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Warren, what if it's someone we know? What if it's someone in this room?" His heart dropped. Trust was the foundation of their success, now threatened by an unseen hand. Could he stand vigilant in a place that felt so broken? The emptiness in his chest widened as he braced himself for the inevitable confrontation with betrayal. But then a voice broke through his thoughts. "I found something else." Warren turned sharply as a colleague rushed up, clutching a folder as though it was the Holy Grail. "What is it?" Warren asked urgently. "It's about the account's money's gone missing. I think someone is setting us up." The air around them crystallized with tension. The room buzzed with anticipation, each person trapped in their own cyclone of fear. Warren felt the ground shift beneath him, crumbling walls threatening to swallow him whole. What else could be lurking beneath the surface? The revelations seemed to cascade like dominoes, one threatening to topple the next. And just like that, Warren understood. This battle was only beginning, and the traitor was still hiding in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. As they stared at the colleague, the weight of their denial hung heavy in the room. Who could be trusted now? The hunt for the betrayer had begun, but would they find them before it was too late? Warren's mind raced, a heart full of dread pounding against his ribs like a prisoner begging for release. The office felt smaller, suffocating, as fear wrapped around them like a noose. The revelation of missing money was an earthquake beneath their feet. One wrong step could bring everything tumbling down. He glanced around, searching for signs of deceit among the familiar faces. Charlie looked visibly pale, Tara's worried gaze flicked toward him, and the others shuffled, eyes darting away, as if hiding their thoughts. "Listen, we need to stay focused," he said, steeling his voice. "We can't let this tear us apart. Trust is all we have." How hollow those words sounded now, echoing in a room suddenly filled with suspicion. "What do you propose?" asked a voice from the back, trembling yet defiant. It was Sarah, their project manager. "How do we find out who's behind this before it escalates?" Warren paused, uncertainty flickering in his mind like a faulty light bulb. "We need to double-check all our records, and maybe watch each other more closely. We can't let anyone take advantage of this chaos." "Great plan," someone chimed sarcastically. "When do we start the witch hunt?" There was a murmur of agreement. It felt like turning against one another was their only choice left. "We're not hunting anyone," Warren snapped, feeling the mounting pressure in his chest. "We're trying to save what we've built. This isn't just about the money, it's about us." As he spoke, an intense silence fell over the group. He could see their faces etched with conflict, an internal battle between alliance and self-preservation. The air buzzed with tension, like static electricity waiting to discharge. Just then, the dim lights above flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Gasps filled the room as panic ignited the atmosphere. Warren felt his pulse racing, a mix of fear and anger bubbling just below the surface. "Stay calm," he barked, though his voice quaked with uncertainty. Did someone cut the power? Charlie said, his voice trembling. Or is it just a ploy to keep us in the dark? Tara whispered beside him, gripping his arm. The warmth of her touch sent a jolt of reality through him, reminding him they were still united at least for now. After what felt like an eternity, the lights flickered back on, revealing startled faces and wide eyes. A figure stood just beyond the doorway, silhouetted against the glowing corridor. Warren squinted, trying to make out who it was. Is someone there? He called out, a mix of urgency and fear coiling in his stomach. The figure stepped forward, revealing Marcus, their tech lead. His eyes were wild, a look of horror etched on his face like a mask. Warren, something has happened. You have to see this. Warren's heart dropped. He took a step forward, focused. What is it? What did you find? Marcus glanced behind him to check the corridor before responding in a low tone. It's about the accounts and those odd transactions. They're linked to more than you think. The weight of dread settled back on Warren as he gestured for Marcus to follow him inside. What do you mean, linked to more than we think? Before Marcus could answer, the office phone rang, slicing through the tension. Everyone froze, the sudden noise amplifying their anxiety. Warren beckoned Charlie over to answer it. The seconds dragged on like hours as the phone buzzed in Charlie's ears. Hello? Charlie's voice was shaky, eyes darting to Warren, who waved for silence. Warren, it's for you. It's the bank. Warren's stomach dropped. Questions raced through his mind. What were they calling about? Had the situation already spiraled out of control? He picked up the receiver, a sense of impending doom settling in. Warren Buffett. What's the issue? The silence on the line was deafening, heavier than any weight he had ever carried. Then came a voice he didn't recognize, calm but chilling. Mr. Buffett, we have a problem. We need to discuss your recent transactions before it's too late. His blood ran cold. What in the world had they uncovered? As he held the phone, apprehension draping over him like a shroud, he realized he was no longer playing catch-up in this terrifying game. The stakes were higher than he could have ever imagined. Who can I trust now? He murmured, eyes scanning the room. Was the betrayer in their midst? And as they stood there, shadowed by uncertainty and suspicion, one thing was clear. The storm was far from over. Secrets were lurking, waiting to be unveiled, and Warren's fight for survival had only just begun. What other horrors awaited him behind closed doors? Warren's grip tightened on the phone as dread seeped deeper into his bones. What do you mean, before it's too late? He pressed, his voice barely above a whisper. Around him, the tension hung thick and heavy, suffocating as his colleagues exchanged anxious glances. The voice on the other end hesitated, then continued. You're in a precarious situation, Mr. Buffett. The activities on your accounts indicate something illegal. Charlie leaned closer, straining to hear. What? Illegal? He mouthed, eyes wide with disbelief. Warren's heart raced. His mind whirled at the implications. What exactly are you talking about? There are transfers to accounts that don't belong to you, suspicious activity that leads back to your organization. I suggest you consider who you allow to access sensitive information. This could unravel everything. The voice warned, a calculated calmness that only magnified his fear. What do I do? He asked in a panic that felt almost palpable. Protect what's yours and consider your next steps carefully. The line went silent, leaving Warren clutching the receiver as if it were the last lifeline in a sinking ship. He looked around, his heart pounding. Did everyone hear that? When silence met his question, he felt a lump form in his throat. Was someone betraying them? What kind of chaos were they about to face? Warren, Tara said, her voice trembling. What should we do? Marcus knows something, he said, turning toward the tech lead. The certainty in his voice surprised even him. We need to trust him. We need answers. Marcus nodded, stepping forward, his expression more serious than ever. I've been tracking those transactions for a while. Something's definitely off. Could be an inside job or worse, a larger operation targeting us. A heavy silence filled the room, each person lost in their thoughts. Warren felt ice creeping through his veins. Who would want to sabotage us? Charlie asked, his tone edged with fear. What do they stand to gain? More than just money, Marcus replied, shaking his head grimly. Reputation. Control. This isn't just theft. It's a calculated move. Warren's mind raced. Each minute felt like an hour, each shadow a potential threat. We have to dig deeper, he said, tension tightening the words. We can't let fear win. Who has the most access to our finances? We need to start there. Everyone here could potentially access the accounts, Tara whispered, her voice shaky. Then we need to find who has the biggest motive, Warren replied, the cold edge of determination creeping into his voice. Should we confront them? Sarah asked tentatively. Confrontation could raise alarms, Marcus warned, his brow furrowed. We need to be smart about this. The last thing we want is to spook whoever is involved. Sudden anger flared up in Warren. They had worked too hard for this. So what do you propose? We just sit here? Become prisoners in our own office? No, we gather evidence slowly, Marcus replied, his gaze fierce. And we maintain our cover. Whatever we find, we use it to decide how to move forward. Torchlight of hope flickered inside Warren, though a part of him was shadowed by the fear that each step could lead to disaster. Then let us do it, he commanded, finding his footing. But we do it together. No secrets. Just then, the lights flickered again, and a sudden chill raced through the office. The door creaked as it swung open, revealing a figure that sent a fresh wave of panic rippling through the group. Warren squinted at the silhouette. Who's there? He demanded, heart pounding wildly. The interaction broke the room's tenuous calm, and he could almost hear the collective breath of his team as they waited for the answer that could turn the tide. The figure stepped fully into view, face stark against the dim light. I know who took the money, they said, voice low and filled with urgency. And we need to talk now. Warren's stomach flipped, dread clawing at him. Could this be the breakthrough they needed, or a trap that would draw them into a darker abyss? What lay ahead was unknown, but one thing was clear. The balance between trust and betrayal had just begun to sway dangerously. And with the stakes climbing higher, time was running out. Warren's heart raced as the figure stepped into the trembling light. The desperate urgency in their voice paralyzed the room, fear rooting everyone to the spot. He tried to read the expression in those shadowed features, but it was impossible. Who are you? Marcus demanded, his voice sharper than usual, eyes narrowing. I can't say here, the figure replied, glancing over their shoulder as if expecting someone to burst in at any moment. But you need to listen. You're in more danger than you realize. Danger? Tara echoed, fear lining her voice. Is someone targeting us? Yes. But it's not just an external threat. It's someone within your walls. The figure's words hung in the air, thick and heavy, begging for clarity. Warren leaned forward, urgency igniting within him. What do you know? Who is it? We've got to act fast. The figure shook their head. I can't name names now. It's too risky. But I saw the transactions. Everything points to a setup, a way to pin the blame on you. The real thief knows how to cover their tracks. The tension in the air crackled around them like a live wire. Warren swallowed hard, anxiety whipping through him. We have to find out who, or we might all go down for this. Find the source, the figure said urgently. I can't help you here, but I'll send you a message tonight. It will have directions. Follow it to survive. Before Warren could respond, the figure turned abruptly, disappearing into the shadows as quickly as they appeared. A stunned silence enveloped the room, where only the sound of heavy breathing and the dim hum of fluorescent lights filled the void left behind. What just happened? Charlie finally whispered, blinking in disbelief. I don't know, but we need to get our heads straight, Warren replied, trying to push the panic down. We can't afford to look over our shoulders now. Can we trust them? Sarah asked, biting her lip, her anxiety palpable. He didn't answer immediately. Trust was a slippery slope when paranoia clouded judgment. If what they said is true, then there's no time to waste. We need to keep working on those accounts and gathering intel. We'll meet after hours to analyze things. Marcus nodded, already typing rapidly on his phone. I would advise that we check every access log, anyone who had access these past few months. Warren crossed his arms, feeling a strange mix of fear and resolve propel him. Agreed. We stick to our plan and play it safe. Whoever is behind this thinks they're one step ahead. We'll surprise them. As they dove back into their work, Warren's mind raced. Was the intruder really a friend, or were they setting him up even further? A sudden flash of doubt pierced through him. The sky outside darkened progressively, and he could hear distant thunder rumbling, echoing the tension stretching taut within the office. Just then, a ping from Marcus's computer broke the hush. There it is, Marcus exclaimed, eyes widening at the revelation on the screen. I found something. Warren rushed over, his chest tightening with anticipation. What is it? Look, Marcus said, pointing. There's a pattern here. It's connected back to a shrill ring cut through their focus, an incoming call interrupting the flow like a jarring alarm. Warren's heart sank at the sight of the caller ID. It's the bank, he said, the color draining from his face. What do we do? Tara asked, her voice shakier than before. Warren felt the weight of the moment pressing heavily upon him. Should he answer, knowing the stakes? Or let it go, risk losing crucial information? With uncertainty hanging in the air, he hesitated. That lingering call would hold the answers to questions he feared to ask. But what would it reveal about the people he thought he could trust? The choice loomed. What lay ahead was an unanswered question, waiting to trip them up or unveil secrets that could save everything. Would he have the guts to face it, or would it be the downfall of all they had worked for? Warren's finger hovered above the screen, his mind a swirl of fear and confusion. The call continued to ring, a relentless reminder of the decision hanging over him. Time felt suspended, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Warren, answer it, Tara urged, her eyes wide with anxiety. We can't just sit here. I know, but what if it's a trap? He replied, feeling the weight of responsibility pushing down on him. What if they're monitoring us? Or what if they have information we need? Marcus interjected, his frustration palpable. We can't waste this opportunity. Warren clenched his jaw, fighting against the panic clawing at him from the inside. He needed time to think. But time was not on their side. He finally swallowed hard and pressed the green button. Hello? He said, trying to keep his voice steady, despite the storm of emotions brewing within him. Warren, it's Jenna from the bank. A cool, professional voice answered. We need to talk urgently about your accounts. The mention of Jenna sent a chill down his spine. She had always been straightforward, but this tone held an edge. What's going on? This ISNTA secure line. Can you meet me? I can't disclose the details over the phone. Why? Is it about the transactions? His heart raced, each syllable uttering more questions that he desperately wanted answers for. Warren, she urged, her voice lowering. You need to trust me. There's something very wrong. You and your associates are in danger. I'll text you the location. The call ended abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. The others looked at him, eyes filled with a mix of hope and dread. What was that? Charlie asked, shifting nervously in his chair. Warren trembled slightly, his mind racing with the implications. She says there's something wrong and we're in danger. Should we go? Sarah asked, her voice a whisper, dread evident on her face. We can't ignore it, Warren replied, steeling himself. But we need to be careful. Whoever is behind this, they're always watching. Marcus was already gathering his things, the urgency of the situation clear to everyone now. I'll drive. We can't waste time. As they hurried out of the office, a crack of thunder shattered the air outside, echoing the chaos within Warren's chest. The storm that had brewed all evening now seemed to mirror the turmoil they faced. Rain drummed against the pavement, and lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating their way as they scrambled to Marcus's car. Stay alert, Warren said, his voice firm as they all climbed in. We don't know who we can trust anymore. As they drove through the pouring rain, tension thickened in the air. Every turn brought uncertainty. Was Jenna really trying to help? Or had she been a part of this scheme all along? Warren's gut twisted as doubt gnawed at his resolve. They arrived at the dimly lit cafe suggested by Jenna, the flickering neon sign casting eerie shadows across the pavement. Warren hesitated, anxiety twisting in his gut. This wasn't a safe choice. It felt more like a trap. This is it, he breathed, glancing around cautiously. Everyone stay close. They stepped inside, soaked and tense, scanning the room. Jenna sat in a corner booth, her eyes darting toward the door as they entered. With a gesture, she beckoned them over. Warren's heart raced again, wondering if things would become clearer or if this was where everything would unravel as they approached. Jenna's expression shifted from urgency to fear. Warren, I didn't want to say this over the phone. But suddenly, the cafe door swung open, and a figure stepped in, soaking wet. Warren's breath hitched in his throat as he recognized the face. This is a mistake, the figure said, glancing around the cafe nervously. You need to listen to me. Warren's world tilted on its axis. Was it ally or foe? The answer lay just beyond his reach, and time was running out. What had he just stepped into? Warren's heart raced as the familiar face came into focus. It was Mark, an old acquaintance from the finance sector, someone he hadn't spoken to in years. But then again, familiarity was the last thing that brought comfort in this moment. Marcus' eyes darted around as he stepped further inside, his breath coming in short gasps. This is a mistake, he repeated, panic rising in his voice. You need to listen to me. Warren's mind reeled. Was this a setup? An ambush? He felt Tara's hand grip his arm, and he could sense the collective tension among his friends. They were all on edge, every nerve alive with fear and anticipation. Why should we trust you? Marcus shot back, brows furrowing in suspicion. You disappeared without a trace. What do you know? Mark took a step closer, his shadow merging with the dim light of the cafe. It's not about trust, it's about survival. They're coming for you, he said, his voice trembling. I've seen things. I know things. Warren exchanged glances with the others. Things about Jenna? About the bank? What do you mean? Before Mark could answer, Jenna placed a hand on Warren's arm, her panic rising. You don't understand. They're not just after your accounts. This goes much deeper. What are you saying? Warren demanded, his voice rising. What's happening? Mark swallowed hard, like he could barely get the words out. I got involved in something I didn't mean to. It spiraled out of control. They're watching people in your circle. I thought I could warn you before it was too late. Who? Sarah asked, stepping closer, her voice a whisper. The syndicate, Mark whispered, his eyes wide. They're everywhere, controlling everything. And they won't stop until they've erased anyone who knows too much. Warren's stomach dropped. The name resonated with unspoken fears. Connections began to form in his mind. Odd transactions, inconsistencies in the system, even the sudden disappearance of key witnesses from previous bank allegations. What do you know about them? He pressed, urgency clawing at him. They're involved in money laundering, changing identities, everything. Mark glanced back at the door, his eyes filled with dread. They have eyes everywhere. They want to take you out before you can figure it all out. You have to run. I'm not running, Warren shot back, defiance flaring in him. If there's something to be fought against, we'll face it head on. Jenna shook her head, her voice breaking. You don't understand, Warren. They are powerful. And once they have you in their sights. Suddenly, the cafe's door creaked open again, and another figure stepped in. The sight of a well-dressed man with cold, calculating eyes sent chills down Warren's spine. He felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand straight. Looks like the party's just getting started, the man said smoothly, scanning the room with a predatory gaze. And it seems we have a few uninvited guests. Warren's heart raced as the truth hit him like a punch to the gut. They weren't just being watched. They were in the eye of a storm. The stakes were higher than he had ever imagined, and the collusion around him was about to explode into chaos. Get behind me, he ordered, instinct kicking in. His body took over, and before he knew it, He was positioning himself between his friends and the unknown threat. There was no turning back now. Would they be able to escape this mess? Or was this where their fight finally caught up to them? As the man stepped closer, a shadow loomed over Warren's resolve. He clenched his fists, ready to face whatever came next, but deep down, he feared it could be too late. What would happen when secrets finally spilled into the open? Warren's heart thundered in his chest as he faced the man gliding towards them. There was a cold confidence in that approach, a predator sizing up its prey. "You're too far in, Buffett," he said, his voice smooth, almost silky, yet edged with menace. "You've stirred up too much trouble." Warren didn't flinch, drawing strength from the people behind him. "I'm not afraid of you," he retorted, knowing the words would test him more than he tested the man. He was bluffing, but he needed to keep the team together. The collective breaths held behind him filled the charged atmosphere with a mix of fear and determination. "Fear is an intelligent response to danger," the man said, stepping closer, his demeanor unfurling confidence that felt unshakable. "You should remember that, Warren." Behind him, he could feel Tara's hand squeeze his arm. "What do we do?" she whispered, her eyes wide with panic. He swallowed hard, voice steadying with a force born of desperation. "We stand together." The moment felt monumental, each second stretching into infinity. Nothing in the world mattered more than this moment. The others huddled closer, their united front a fragile shield against the approaching storm. "We know about the syndicate," Warren asserted, his voice ringing with strength. "Whatever game you're playing here ends now. We're not backing down." There was a burning conviction in his chest. It felt solid, the fire igniting something deep within him. The man smirked. Brave words. But knowledge is power, and I have the upper hand in this equation. Time is not on your side." Just as panic threatened to explode inside, a familiar chime echoed in Warren's pocket, the sound of an incoming text. He pulled his phone out, praying, hoping the unknown figure had sent more dire information to help dismantle this confrontation. When he opened the message, his blood ran cold. "It's a trap. The cafe is compromised. Get out now. Move." Warren barked, heart pounding, adrenaline surging as he turned back toward the exit. Dark figures began pouring in through the front, menacing silhouettes blocking any chance of escape. The atmosphere shifted. It became a race against time, each second ticking down toward an uncertain end. "Hurry!" Marcus shouted, shoving through the crowd as they fumbled to find their footing. Warren's mind raced, a torrent of strategies colliding. "Over here." Jenna waved them toward a side exit. There was a flicker of hope. As they dashed for it, the figures seized the doorway ahead. A hand shot toward Jenna, but Warren lunged instinctively, blocking the blow just in time. The force pushed him back, heart pounding. Fear ignited sheer will. "Get out," he shouted, tossing Jenna free. The team flowed through the side door in a desperate rush, spilling into the alley just outside. Rain soaked them as they stumbled, adrenaline surging under the heavy gray clouds. The street was murky, shadows dancing, chaos swirling as they found shelter from the storm. "Is everyone okay?" Warren panted, checking on each of their faces, seeing white-knuckle grips and wide, terrified eyes. Just then, Mark reappeared at the entrance they had fled, each breath a ragged testament to his own fear. "You guys need to listen, no time." Warren interrupted. "We need a plan." "Right," Mark replied, eyes flickering with gravity. "There's a safe house we can go to, but we have to move fast. They won't quit until they find you." "Let us go," Warren yelled. They couldn't let fear dictate their choices now. Trust had splintered, yet survival cemented their alliance. It ignited something fiercer than betrayal, unity. As they pressed on, each step felt more significant. They darted down rainy streets, past darkened buildings, every turn loaded with the echoes of what they feared. The syndicate was a shadow lurking, hands stained, ready to claw back into their lives. But they wouldn't lie down. Not now. They approached a nondescript building after what felt like an eternity, the weight of uncertainty clinging from their frantic flight. "This way," Mark urged, glancing over his shoulders like a nervous rabbit. Inside, the atmosphere shifted. It felt more secure, conducive to whispered discussions and quick planning. Warren moved towards a dimly lit conference room on the second floor. They gathered around an old table, faces lined with worry but tempered with determination. "Okay," Warren said, catching his breath. "We need to figure out what we're dealing with here. Trust your instincts, anyone you suspect?" Silence filled the room as they recalled moments. Uneven glances, they were still vibrating with fear, uncertainty hanging in the air. "Jenna," Tara said softly, looking across the table, "I don't know you well, but you disappeared earlier. What else is there?" Warren felt a pang of dread in his chest. Had he welcomed danger into his fold? If there are games being played, we need names. Who's involved? Jenna's confident demeanor faltered, and suddenly, her taps against the table betrayed a nervousness he hadn't noticed before. "I'm trying to help, but some things are bigger than you realize, Warren." "Bigger?" Mark challenged. "How much deeper does it go?" "The syndicate, they have connections far beyond just illegal transactions. This isn't just about money. It's about control," Jenna replied, voice almost trembling. Warren locked eyes with her, frustration unyielding. "Then show us how to fight. We can't keep running." His heart raced with indignation. He refused to be cowed. Just then, a soft ping echoed across the room, a new message. Warren grabbed his phone. "It's the number from before." His pulse quickened as he read the words. "You can outmaneuver them, but time is running out. The syndicate's hand is deeper than you imagine. Trust me and act fast." "Who is this?" he muttered, the sense of urgency mounting within him. In that moment, the room felt alive, a spark lighting the collective resolve in them. They wouldn't cower. Betrayal might lurk, but they could reshape their narrative, refusing to let shadows dictate their fate any longer. "Let us expose them," Warren said with newfound conviction, as the fire slashed through the chill of fear around them. Together, they would push forward no matter the cost. No more running. Life was too short. Legacies were at stake. They were fighting not just for wealth or success but their lives and the dreams they held. The syndicate might try to take them down, but they would rise on the ashes of betrayal. This was it. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories unfolding right here. Don't wait even one more second to share this conclusion with at least 5 friends who need to see this. Spread the word. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep the community thriving. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what's to come next. Your voice matters in our journey.